A few years ago, I was developing a different way to provide training. Again, I've mentioned before my background's in the military, and it's one thing to sell books and to sell tapes and videotapes and various content materials and so on. But the whole point of the School of Thinking has been to try and teach thinking as a skill, to do it in such a way that people not only know about these ideas, because people already in many cases know about much of this kind of stuff, but that they can do it, that they can escape from their CVS at a certain time and find a BVS, not just know about it or talk about it in some kind of motivational sense. So, and of course the only real kind of training that really produces this kind of result, really deep patterns of behavior and a sort of virtuoso performance, is the sort of training that's really done every day. Daily training. There's nothing beats daily training, and that's what the military use. That's what they use in the military, rather the sporting, swimming pool, ballet school, music academy, and so on. Practice, practice, practice. They used to have a joke in New York where they say, "How do you get to Carnegie Hall?" Practice, practice, practice. This idea of daily training. So it's very difficult to do because you don't have people every day except if you've got them in the army. And then along came the telephone with these 0055 in Australia. I think it was 1900 in America, but where you could make phone calls, you could get horoscopes, you could get sex calls. There's a whole range of things, and while you were listening to the message, the meter was running on your phone bill and you were paying for it. So I developed a series of thinking lessons using that system, and I put a book out that was used at the time. This book was available in newsagents in Australia, and people could go in, buy the book. It was an experiment. Did quite well at the time, and in the book were various lessons. There was a lesson each day. You'd go through, and then you rang the little phone number here. You got a password. You listened to the recorded message, a bit like you're doing now, and then you put in the password. At the end of the sequence, you collected all your passwords. You could send away to the school and get a certificate. This was a new idea. No one had done this before. It kind of worked reasonably well. It certainly worked well technologically, and it worked well from a training point of view because people who did it were getting the daily practice, and the feedback we got that it was great. But the part that they couldn't get their head around was when they got their phone bill at the end of the month, or there was an extra $150 on their phone bill. Now, $150 at the time was a reasonable price for a course of that stature, but somehow people couldn't get their head around the idea of the phone bill. So while we were just sort of sorting our way through that, along came the internet. That was about for us, around about 1994, 1995. And after a trip back to the States, I saw what was happening with the internet there and decided this distributed daily training would work much better on an email platform on the internet. So we put the School of Thinking on the internet in 1995. It was one of the first 100,000 of all internet sites. Within the first 12 months, we won the coveted 5% of the Net Award, which was quite a big award in those days. I don't know if it still exists. And that was how the School of Thinking got started. So, but the idea was, again, to provide some kind of a platform that enabled people to do daily training. It's just so much, it's easily 10 times more powerful to practice something on a daily basis, the results you get, than just reading a book or listening to a tape or having a chat about it, going to a motivational session or something like that.